Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, we're going to discuss about LLM agents. Okay, so in previous video, we discussed what is a LLM and how is it different from RAG or retrieved augmented generation, right? So in today's video, we're going to understand a new topic that is, a buzz in the tech market, right? It's about LLM agents. Before understanding about LLM agents, let's just think about what is an agent. Agent is something that can do some work, right? I mean, you give them instruction and it will perform some task by itself, right? So that is an agent. So in LLM agent, we use LLM to do some task for us. Okay, using LLM, obviously in different steps we'll use LLMs. We'll discuss that about in this video. So using LLM, will build agents which will do different kind of tasks for us. Like let's say doing financial analysis on a given set of stocks, right? Every day, like every day it will do some research on the stocks that you have set, right? And it will give you the reports or summaries, right? Or a research paper agent which will read research paper, understand the context and understand everything from it and summarize things for you. So a lot of things can be made using agents. So in technical term, LLM agent is kind of a system or application that uses large language model. Obviously LLM itself is large language model, so it will use LLM or large language models to perform specific tasks by acting almost autonomously or semi-autonomously. You just configure it or program it once and it will do the similar kind of task every day for you. Okay, so if you look at a typical architecture of a LLM agent, so LLM agent mainly contains four components in it. Okay, one is the first component. The first component is to detect the intent of the user query. I mean, this is the input, right, that the user gives. Using this input, we'll first understand what the user is trying to ask, or what is his motto behind the question. We'll detect the intent in the first component, and in the second component, we'll then after understanding the context about it, we'll plan or do the reasoning. Reasoning means we'll decide what are the steps that needs to be done in order to answer that particular query. First we understood the query, then we are designing the steps and plans for the to answer the query. Okay, then once the planning is done and the reasoning is done, we'll use multiple tools. I mean, tools are kind of independent function, you can think. We're going to see code examples of how LLM agent is done and how tools can be used in it. Okay, so tools are different kind of independent functions which perform a specific set of tasks. Okay, so based on the steps that we have got using this planning and reasoning step, we'll then accordingly call the respective tools. Then it will generate response using these tools. Now once the output is generated or the response is generated from each of the steps, okay, then we combine the response and generate the final output which will be given to the user. So this is very generic and simple architecture and heart of LLM agent. I mean, these are the four basic steps that you will find in any kind of LLM agent that you will come across. Okay, so now let's just directly jump into the code. Okay, and we'll see how LLM agent actually looks, right? Before implementing LLM based agent, what we'll do, we'll first design a skeleton and just do a simulator. We'll just design a simulator what to understand these four steps. Okay, we'll understand these four steps or four components of an LLM agent using a simulator code. I mean, we won't use LLMs directly in that, but we'll see how does it look. Okay, now if you see here, we have created a class called LLM agent. This constructor we have for this class. Then we have two methods here. Okay, one is the ask and one is the calculate. I'll explain what are these functions. Now if you see, we have created one function named mock LLM, which is nothing but it first uh, understands the query. I mean, this is the entry point of our LLM agent. I mean, this is the which will detect the intent. Okay, so this is our component to detect the intent of the user question. Now we have created that agent. If you see here, we have created one agent instance using this LLM agent class. Okay, this class we have created. If you see, if I ask something, let's say I ask uh, agent.ask, I just ask hello. So what we have done, we have hard coded here is key if hello is there. I mean, see, as I told, this is just a simulator code. Okay, next we will implement agents using real LLMs, but this is a simulator to just make you brief about. I mean, just give you a flavor of how agent workflow works actually. Okay, now if you see, we've created the agent here and we are asking the first question hello. So the first step is to detect intent, right? What the user is trying to do. So if you see here, So we are calling the ask method of this agent. Now let's go to the ask method. If you see here, what we are doing, if there is something else, I mean something else is mentioned in the query, we'll do some steps. I'll discuss about this condition. Else, what we are doing, we are just passing the query to the model. Model as in this function that we passed here, right? This mock LLM function we passed, and we have passed it as the model, okay, in this LLM agent class. So else it will just return the output from this model, okay. This is our mock LLM model. Just think of it as a mock LLM model. Now if I ask this question, what it will do, sorry, let me just run this first, and now I'll run this. Yeah, if you see here, it went to this ask method. Calculate was not there, so it went to the else case. So what it is doing, it is asking the model or mock LLM model to generate a response for that. So in this, if we have coded that key, if hello is there, if hello string is there in the user query, you just greet the user like hello there, how can I assist you today? Okay. Now if you see here, if I ask this question, now the next question, if you see, I'm asking, can you calculate 12 into 5? Okay. I mean, I want to calculate the value of 12 into 5 here. So if you see here, we have the calculate string here, right? So I have written a rule, hard-coded rule. Again, this is a, this input understanding, right? This is where this input understanding comes into picture. Detecting intent. First we first we'll detect the intent. So this is where we are detecting the intent using a hard-coded rule here. Obviously, we'll use LLM in our real agents that we are going to design. But here we are just using a hard-coded rule just to give you the flavor of LLM agent. So the rule is, if calculate is there in the query, that means the intent is to calculate something, right? The intent is detected now. Now we move to the next step. How do we now plan the plan to respond to the query? Now the query is, can you calculate 12 into 5? We know that we have detected the intent that it intends to calculate something, some mathematical expression. Now once we have done that, we move on to the planning and reasoning step. If you see here we are doing the planning and reasoning, right? First what we are doing, we are actually fetching the calculation or fetching the mathematical expression from the user query, okay, using some hard-coded rule again here. Then we are using this calculate function. I mean, if you see here, it's nothing but the eval of an mathematical expression which evaluates a mathematical expression in Python. It's just calculating the value and then returning a string key. The result of the expression is this much, right? So if I ask you this question, let's ask this question. Yeah, if you see the expression that it passed, if you see here, I have printed the expression here, okay, from the query. So we have done the planning and reasoning. I mean, we know now what we want to do. So planning and reasoning was done here, okay. Fetch the expression first, okay. That was the planning and reasoning step. Now the next step is to do a tool call. I mean, to calculate the value of mathematical expression, we need some tool. So here the calculate function that is there, right, that acts as a tool call for us, right? So once we got the expression, now we are doing a tool call here. So and then getting the result of the user query. So if you see, it calculates the result of 12 into 5 is 60. Now, if I ask something out of the box, which the LLM agent is not trained or built to answer, right? If I just ask this, it will simply tell that I did not understand the query, okay? Because first of all, the intent was not to calculate anything, right? That's why the intent fell back to this else case, right? And here, if you see, our model doesn't know how to answer this query. Okay, that's why it responded like I did not understand the query. Now, if I just 12 by 5, if I ask this, I think the question mark is there, that's why it is not able to compute. But if I remove the question mark, because we have hard-coded the rule to extract expression from that. So if I just do this, yeah, it is giving the value for us, right? If you see here, after the tool call, this is where we are, gathering the result, right? And preparing a response for that, okay? This is where the tool call happened. This tool call happened. After this tool generated some output, we used that output to generate a final response. So we generated the output for the user query. This is a simulation agent. I mean, I have not used any real LLM here. But now let's move on to the next code that I've created here. And here we'll actually use the real LLM. Okay, I mean, we'll in each step, like the intent detection step, then planning and reasoning step, we'll actually use LLM models. we'll use OpenAI ChatGPT model, right? We'll use OpenAI models to detect the LLM to, let's say, fetch the mathematical expression from any user query. Let's say if the intent is to calculate something. So we'll see the power in a while here. So let me just run this, import some modules here. And if you see here I'm defining few tools. I have one calculator tool which will take in some mathematical expression and evaluate the result for us, right? And then I have a weather tool, which is a kind of simulator tool. It's the description is not correct. Weather tool is gives the weather info of a location. Okay. So here we are. See, in this tool, we are just passing. We are sending a hard-coded response here, right? Like 25 degrees Celsius and the weather is sunny. But here we can actually, do some, call. Maybe we can call a weather API here. We have multiple weather APIs available. We can actually call a weather API, but for simplicity, I have hard-coded the response. Okay, you can obviously use the weather APIs from Google, and a lot of weather APIs are available there. You can obviously write the code for that, and you'll get the real response for a given location. But here we are, for simplicity, we're just using a hard-coded response. So these two tools we are using. Okay, and then we are using a third tool as a fallback. I mean, if the user's question is beyond or out of the scope of these two tools, right? It will fall back to this fallback tool, and it will generate a response that, sorry, I don't know how to answer that question. So then, yeah, if you see here, we are using LangChain. Okay, so LangChain is nothing but it's a great framework to build LLM agents, right? Agentic based applications. It's a very good framework to use. That's what I'm using here in LangChain. We have other frameworks also, different kind of frameworks you'll find in the market, but here I'm using LangChain. I'll create a separate video on LangChain and how different kind of capabilities that it provides. What is a LangChain? What is a LangGraph? What is a LangSmith? A lot of things. It has built a complete ecosystem actually to generate to build LLM based application. We'll discuss about that in a separate video. Don't worry. So now if you see here, so we are using the decorator tool which is provided by LangChain to mark a given function as a tool. Then we are combining these tools in an array. Okay, this is our tools array. We are creating each tool using this tool class that is available from LangChain. Okay, if you see from LangChain agent, we are importing tool class here. So using this tool class, we are creating 3 tools. Okay, for us. Now if you see here, for each tool, we are providing some description. Now this description is very much important. Okay. Now, because the agent that we're going to build using LangChain, that agent detects intent using this description. So this description is very much useful. So if you write something random, it won't be able to understand whether to use a calculator tool or not. Okay, for a given mathematical expression. Okay, so this description is very much important for the LLM agent, LangChain agent, to understand what a function does actually. Okay, I mean, which function shall I call for a given query. Now if you see here in the weather tool, we are again giving some description like useful for fetching temperature of a location that the user has asked for. And this fallback tool is for if no other tool is suitable for the user query, use this tool. Okay, so for each tool I have given some description which will be helpful for the LLM agent that we're going to build. Now if you see here, I have created the one LLM model using, as I told, we are using OpenAI model, right? So I'll just run, and then we are creating the LLM agent using the LangChain. This initialize agent is a function from LangChain, okay, to create an agent. Okay, if you see, we are passing the tools, we are passing the LLM model. Okay, and then was false I have given here. Okay, uh, again I'll make it true and I'll show you how it works actually. Let's just run this. Let's just initialize our agent first. So our agent is initialized. Now we are asking few complex questions. See, the questions that I am asking here, it is not pretty much straightforward. See, if you see here, I've asked, hello, can you tell me what 5 multiplied by 6 is? I have not given any mathematical pure handwritten expression like 5 into 6. I have written in like 5 multiplied by 6. So if you see, this LLM agent is smart enough to, you know, uh, get the mathematical expression for it. Okay. Then utilize it to utilize the calculator tool to calculate the expression. So internally it is doing a lot of things, basically it is abstracting a lot of things. Okay, I mean LLM agent, if you use some framework, that's the benefit of frameworks, using using frameworks like LangChain. It will abstract a lot of information for us. In the next Python code, I'll show you how to implement this abstraction. I mean, how actually we can, answer this kind of complex queries, okay, by detecting intent using LLM model ourselves. We'll again see that in the third file. But if you see here, if I ask this question, see that, let it just generate some response for us. Yeah, if you see it is correctly answered, the answer is 30. If I ask this question, what is the result of 25 divided by C? It is again correctly answering the question. But if I ask something out of the box, because the LLM agent that we built, its purpose is to perform two tasks for us, right? One is the calculator tool and one is the weather tool. So our LLM agent only knows how to compute some mathematical expression, how to uh, give the weather of a particular location. If I ask this question like this, you'll see that it will go to the fallback tool, because it is neither useful for the calculator tool, nor it can be answered by the weather tool. So it is fallback to the for our fallback tool, the third tool, and it is generating response rate. I'm unable to face the live cricket score of India versus Australia. Please try using a sports news. Okay, generated response like that. But if I ask this question, it will clearly answer the questions pretty much in a very good manner. And the current temperature BVSR is 25 degrees centigrade, it is saying. Now if I just let me just make this was true, so that we'll understand the different internal steps, right? How it was able to decide that I need to call calculator tool for this, I need to call weather tool for this. We'll see how it was able to do those things. If I keep was true, it will give us a detailed, you know, steps, internal steps that it is performing in order to reach to the particular solution. If you see here, see, entering a new agent executed chain. Now it is internally doing some using LLMs to, uh, get the to detect the intent and do the planning and reasoning step, then determining which tool to use in the planning step, then calling the tools, right? All these three steps are being done internally using the LangChain framework. Okay, the LangChain agent is completely abstracting these four steps here. Okay, now here in the verb step we see those steps in detail. If you see here, first it is detecting the intent ki, yeah, I should use the calculator tool to perform the calculation, because the question is kind of a calculation wala question. So it detected action as the calculator, and input as 5 into 6, because it fetched the information from this. It used LLM again to convert this query to a mathematical expression. So it created a mathematical expression for us. Now it is then calculating the calculator tool to give the final answer for us. Now if I run this query, if you will see that it is entering an agent executor tool, it understood that, yeah, so the user is asking about the temperature of Bhubaneswar, so it directly knows that, yeah, I should use the weather tool directly. Okay, so it used the weather tool and gave us the answer of that the current temperature in BVSR is 25 degrees Celsius. So this is how you can, design LLM agents using LangChain framework. But we saw that it is abstracting a lot of steps, and this intermediate step that it is performing, it is abstracting a lot of steps here. So now what we are going to do, we are going to implement a real LLM based agent from scratch. Okay, let me go to the third file, and here we'll actually build an agent which will again perform these two type of tasks. It will either calculate the mathematical expression, or give the weather information, or if it is not able to find any of these two, it will just simply say that I don't know the answer. So but you will implement each of these steps, right? Because LangChain abstracted all of these steps, right? But we'll, in our scratch implementation, we'll implement each of these steps, okay, using LLMs, and then we'll see how it works. Okay, now let me just, if you see here in the LLM agent class, there is an initializer. Obviously there are, I'm just initializing 2-3 things here, API keys and all. Then the query LLM function is there. Yeah, we have a query LLM function here. The query LLM function is nothing but we will be passing a prompt to it. Okay, if you see that the input is a prompt. Okay, based on the prompt, it will just run the prompt on a OpenAI model. It will just send a response for us. Okay, now the entry point of this entire LLM agent that we have designed is the detect intent, because this is the first step, detect intent, right? How do we detect intent? See, if you see, we have generated a prompt here. Okay, now user is typing something. This is the query. I mean, whatever this user is typing, based on that query, what we are giving in the prompt key, determine the user's intent based on the query. The intents can be calculator, weather, or other, right? Then we are passing the user query here, and respond with only one word. So this is what the prompt we have designed, and then we are passing this prompt to self query LLM function. Basically, it's just passing this prompt to our OpenAI model. Okay, so this OpenAI model, the LLM here will help us to detect the intent here. If you see here in the detect intent, we are using the LLM here. Okay, OpenAI LLM. Now once the LLM detects the intent, now what it will do, will process the query. Okay, so if you see here first we detected the intent using the detect intent function. Once the intent was detected, it can be calculated whether or other, right? Any of these three things. So once this is done, we are doing the planning and reasoning step. And if you see here also we are using LLM. How? Now in the planning, in the let's say in the calculator tool, user can type something like this, just like we saw here, right? 5 multiplied by 6, but we need to convert it to a mathematical expression. How we'll do that? Again, we'll take help of LLMs here. Okay. Now if you see here, what we've done, we are calling one function self parse to expression. Okay. If you go to this function parse to expression, again if you see we are using a prompt here, right? Convert the following query into a valid Python mathematical expression. Whatever is the user is giving in the query, I just um, converting into the expression and responding with the expression. Then again we are calling the query LLM function. Okay. So it will give us the mathematical expressions. Now once this was done, we know the planning and reasoning has been done. Now let's just do the tool call. Okay. Tool call will do. Now what tool will call? We'll call the calculator tool, because the intent is to calculate something, right? You're passing the expression to the calculator tool, which is nothing but a simple, eval expression, right? Eval function we are calling to evaluate the expression. Similarly, in the weather case also, we need to get the location from the user query, right? Again, once the intent was detected, we need to get the location from the user query. So again, in this get location function, we are again using uh, LLM here, right? Because this is the planning and reasoning step. In this, what we are doing, fetch location name for which the user asks for the temperature, respond with only the location name. Again, we are calling the query LLM function to get the location name. Now it will get us the location, then we are calling the weather tool again, right? Just like we had weather tool earlier. So in weather tool, what it does, it says mock implementation of a weather API. You can obviously integrate a weather API here, but we are just sending a hard-coded response for simplicity. The current weather in the asked location is 25 degrees centigrade. If it doesn't find anything, it will just say that sorry, I cannot handle this query. Now let's see it in real action. Okay, let me just see what is 5 multiplied by 6 again, or 5 multiplied by 8. Let me just ask this. So if you see here, what it will do, it will processing the query. See, it first detected the intent is calculator. Then using LLM again, it was able to create a mathematical expression for it, 5 into 8. Then it calculated the result. Okay. So if you see here, whatever LangChain had abstracted from us, we are now implementing it from scratch. We are understanding how things are done internally. So if you see here, we are using LLM in two places, here and here. Okay. And obviously in the final output generation, we'll see. Now the result is 40 here. Now if I ask this question, see how complex I have given it, right? Can you calculate 25 divided by 5 plus 5? Let me just make it more complex like this. Let's see how does it see. See, it was able to properly get a mathematical expression for this. 25 divided by 5 plus 5. The answer is 2.5. Now if I ask this question, what is the temperature of Brisbane, Australia? It understood that the intent is to do a weather calculation, and what is the temperature of Brisbane, Australia is the query. So the current weather in Brisbane, Australia is 25 degrees centigrade, right? Now if I just ask something out of the box, I mean which it doesn't know, what is the current score of India versus Australia for test? Let me just ask this. Okay, now ask this, let's see what does it give. It understood that it neither falls in the um, weather intent nor in the calculator intent. So it understood that and answered that sorry, I cannot handle this query. So we saw how to implement a LLM agent from scratch, and obviously you don't want to implement things like from scratch like this, right? That's why we'll be using LLM agents. Definitely, if you want to have more control on your input, more control on your decision making using the prompts and all, you may choose this path. It will definitely generate better response for you. Okay, so I hope you understood the details about LLM agent. We saw how we simulated an agent, right? Then we actually implemented LLM agents using a LangChain framework. Okay, Then we actually implemented the entire LangChain from the entire LLM agent flow from scratch. I mean, because LangChain was abstracting a lot of steps, so we implemented it from scratch. I hope you understood about LLM agents in detail. And if you like this video, just share it with your friends and subscribe to my channel. So we are targeting to reach 1800 subscribers by the end of this month. So keep supporting. So if you have any queries about whatever we discussed in this video, put them in the comment section. I'll be sure to answer them. So in the next video, we'll discuss about different type of LLM architectures. I mean, agentic architectures that are available there. So thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.